everyone, Scrappy Kathy here, and I'm working on a challenge accepted video and layout using, and this week, Shannon Allor and I are taking on the Scrap Squad Lift of the Week, which was published last Friday. And this is the layout we're lifting. And I want to tell you that I absolutely love every single thing about this layout. These two little half buttons up here, this distressing down here, the ink splatters here, the pattern paper that's kind of mostly neutrals with a touch of red, the little bit of touch of pink and red here, the red glittery border here, the thread there, the three buttons, the word strips, the photo. I want to do this exact page someday, but today is not the day. Today, I'm going to do a page where love is replaced by fun, and I have this photo that I need to trim down of my granddaughter Ava when she was just over a year old at a 4th of July barbecue back in my home state of Louisiana with my cousins and lots of extended family. And she went nuts for this big pickup truck. And I thought it was really cute. I have probably 100 photos of her with this truck. And this is one I haven't scrapped before. She's looking very contemplative, and it doesn't look like fun, which is why I picked it for a page called Fun, because it really was fun. I have a couple background sheets that I chose. I actually think I'm going to go with the blue one. I prefer this color and scrap with this kind of minty aqua sort of color more, so that's another good reason for putting it back. I had this sticker sheet, and by the way, I'm using my Mini Kit Monday kit for this, and it's based on Amy Tangerine. So everything I use, all the papers and all the trimmings are going to be Amy Tangerine. And I kind of liked, I had my eye on this little mint green arrow. I can still use that. There are several embellishments in here that I could use and might use. I'm kind of leaning towards this feather, but that wasn't a good enough reason for choosing the mint paper. I'm going to, this is, I believe, a digital layout, just kind of the way it's laid out. And the papers behind the letters are, as I said, neutral. Mine are going to be, a little more fun. Not quite sure which paper is going to go behind which letter. And my Silhouette's Not Cameo is not cooperating with me these days, and I haven't fixed it. But I thought for a page called Fun, I didn't have to have this very orderly kind of font. So I'm going to hand cut my own font, and we'll go from there. For my word strips, I'm going to cut them out of this Amy Tangerine on a Whim page. I think I'm going to use You Do You, which is kind of appropriate for Ava. Let's see, the other one I liked this Awesome. So in the places where those word strips are, I'll do that. My next challenge was I liked the red accent, and I thought a red accent wouldn't look too bad on this page. So I tried using this border punch. It's like a butterfly border punch. I'm not sure you can see that, but it cuts out a nice little curved border that has butterflies and flowers. And when I put this kind of thicker paper through it, it tore. Now, I'm not a above using torn paper, because when you glue it down like so, you can kind of hide that it's torn and put a couple enamel dots or whatever. And I've got the little flowers and butterflies that were cut out that I could use as accents on the page. But I also have this thinner paper that I'm going to try right now. I think it'll cut better in the punch. We'll see, won't we? Okay, it seems to have cut okay, and I've got my little, you can see the little confetti that I've got. Let me put it over here. But it doesn't appear to have done any better at cutting the border. I'm having trouble getting it out, and I kind of wish this weren't happening on camera because it is kind of a mess. This one actually messed up more than the other. I will not clean that out, and I may go with something else entirely for that accent. So I'm going to put this aside. We'll see what, as the page comes together, we'll see what we want to do. First thing I'm going to do is trim up this blue paper that I've chosen, and then I will decide where I want to start my cutting for the word fun. I think I'm just gonna let myself go, and I have to stand up to do this. So that's me pushing the chair back. Let me get this kind of up a little bit. That's actually worse. Here, we'll do this. And I'm going to just kind of start it. This is scary in the best of circumstances, but on camera, one of the things that I convinced myself before doing this is that if it comes out wonky, I can just go with it, because that's kind of part of the fun, right? I'll go here. And if the cuts aren't as clean as they might be with a cutting machine, like you can maybe see right here, there are a couple little areas there. What I can do and plan to do maybe with this one is kind of distress those edges so that it looks like that was part of the plan. So we'll see if that's necessary. So I'm going to go with you, and this one is the one that kind of scared me the most, but it's actually working out okay. Okay, down here. This is actually surprisingly easier. I've done this before, but as I said, never on camera, and never in an effort to lift as amazing a layout as this one. Okay, this one's not, I didn't cut all the way through there. So it's kind of telling me that I probably will want to, that's always a problem when you're hand cutting, is you're adjusting your blade depth and pressure kind of as you go along without realizing it. So there's, yeah, we'll go with the N, and I kind of want to make the shape I'm trying to do the I'm trying to apply appropriate pressure. Okay, one thing that I like a lot about the layout that I'm lifting is that the photo covers up part of the letters, and yet, you know, of course you can still see what it says. And I'm sure that will also be the case with the with this one. You can kind of tell what fun is. I started to okay, that's again not particularly coming out cleanly. Okay, it's cut. We have fun on the page, guys. So I'm going to kind of go with what my backing patterns might be. I thought I'd do, let's see, that one may be more appropriate for the U, and then this one for the N. Yeah, I kind of like that, don't you? What I think I'm gonna do is just kind of apply these. These are scraps from a 6x6 pad, and I have no particular need for smaller scraps. I must tell you that Amy Tangerine has always been one of my favorite designers, and I have way too much of her stuff, and keeping very small scraps of it doesn't seem to be necessary. So I'm going to use much bigger pieces than I need to. This is an entire page. The only one I really care about placement of is this one. I kind of want to be sure that I include some of the pink and the aqua there, the bluish aqua, because in addition to the Scrap Squad and Challenge Accepted that we have going on here, I'm using a sheet of plain cardstock for this month's focus at For the Love of Pretty Paper. And I'm also doing this for the my team challenge at the summer challenge at Mind the Scrap, which is a fun kind of thing, sort of a grab 5. And this week is the warm-up. Okay, I've got all the colors that I wanted. Now what I think I'm going to do, save these letters to maybe use in a different way on a different layout. I'm going to add some depth to the letters. As you could see, I just kind of pasted those letters directly behind this, and there's not really any distance between the top and the bottom. And so if I kind of give it a trace here, it will fool the eye into thinking that there's some depth. And it just adds an additional bit of interest. And I may be using some black elements elsewhere on the layout, probably will. So this black is not, see how that kind of makes that stand out a lot more. And it looks like the backing is more below this. Okay, again, because I do videos in real time, I hesitate to do time-consuming things like this on camera because I don't want to make you all watch paint dry. But on this, I kind of want to add a couple other accents. As I'm doing this, I'm getting the idea that right here, where there are some cuts that shouldn't be there, where I kind of overcut, I thought I might make that, I might emphasize that and make it look a little like it was part of the plan. So there's some plus signs. So I'm going with the real ones and with some that I just added. Okay, so we've got the start here. Let me trim up the photo, and I'm not going to put a border on this photo. I'm going to pop it up on foam and let it stand out that way, and then I'm going to do some kind of trimming around it. There is not a strong horizontal line on here, but I thought I might add one. I'm going to put the photo maybe right there, and I thought I'd use this branding strip as a kind of an anchor for the photo. It again, I'm intentionally making this layout a little different, quite a lot different from the original. This is a branding strip from the Plus One collection, more Amy Tangerine. I'm using it probably upside down. I'm gonna tuck it over here towards the end of that. I'll do this, get the foam. Over at Rediscover Your Stash, this month's emphasis on using your own supplies is on stamping. So I'm going to add some stamping to this layout as well. Okay, so here, put that there. Now, in the original, there's a word strip here, and I've got that black and white line there, so I'll do the word strip a little above it or a little below it. And then there's another one kind of down in this area, and that's where I'm going to use the red border. So we'll see which of these word strips. I think I'll do the You Do You up next to the truck, because the truck is blue and green. This kind of introduces that green color. I've got this cut wonky, but I can trim it up. I like cutting these sort of shaped word strips in in a shape rather than leaving them on a straight line. It depends, actually, but in this case, I want to do this. There's so much movement and color and kind of texture and shape that I'm planning for this, beginning with the backing papers that are behind the word fun. I kind of want to de-emphasize straight, even, parallel, orderly lines. So I'm doing you do you, kind of fussy cut out. I may do the other one differently, but I thought I might pop this up on a strip of foam and put it just a little bit above the black and white line. Get that. Okay, tiny strip of foam. Kind of get that and let it overlap the truck. Okay. Now, there is, on the original, some stamping right in here, right in this area, and some ink splatters here. I'm going to stamp a circle. One of the requirements for the Mind the Scrap, I'm going to move the circle over to the edge. One of the requirements for the Mind the Scrap team challenge is circles have a circular shape on the layout. And so I'm going to do this. I'm going to stamp it using what I usually use to distress edges of things. And it's a little detail stamper. And the color is Old Road, which is kind of it's a chalk ink, and it's kind of which means it has a little bit of a flat sheen, in other words, no sheen to it whatsoever. And this is kind of a grayish brownish color that I don't expect to take over the spot that I do it. It's kind of there. I want to repeat that over here on this side, maybe underneath like that. So I could use a second pressing of it, but I think I'm gonna, I re-inked anyway. Okay, so that's good. And now, in addition to that, I'm going to use one of these vellum images. Again, I hate to have you watch fussy cutting on camera, but I'm actually going to do this kind of an easy way, not as much detail in the fussy cutting as I might otherwise do. This is a vellum sheet from, I believe, Amy Tangerine's sketchbook collection, and I probably bought everything that was ever released in Sketchbook and Yes Please, and then I discovered other designers and discovered that my Amy Tangerine collection was getting too big, so I was a little more reasonable in my purchases of future collections. Okay, so I want to put this here, maybe just like that. And what I'm going to do is put a dot of glue behind this center dot in the design. And if the glue shows through, this glue, my Nuvo Amazing Zoo glue, is dries. Okay, it kind of filled out nicely there. It dries quickly and flat, matte finish, and clear. So it really doesn't show a lot. I have this little cluster here that I want to do, and this is where I'm debating whether to use this. Actually, what I think I'm going to do, my original idea was to use a piece of this branding strip, which has the same colors in it. And here I'm doing a no-no. I'm actually put my trimmer on top of my layout. I apologize to you and to the layout for that. I'm a little conscious of how much time this is likely to take. So what I think I'll do is let that be my kind of here, this die cut border, this punched border, is the grounding strip, if you will, for that cluster. And so I'm going to let this be that, and the colors certainly contrast nicely with the background. I'm going to, for my bit of glitter, I'm going to use the pink, these little pink butterflies that were cut, that failed attempt to cut things a while back, like at the beginning of the video. I was trying to see if it would cut. I also like this greenery sticking up. I have this, it was rather long, but I only want to use a small strip of it, and I'm undecided as to which strip I want to use. I don't want to cover up too much. That doesn't cover up too much. That's fine. So I'm going to anchor just one leaf and let the rest of it be loose. And that will give me some movement and depth there. Okay. To be honest, I think I've talked about this before. I have no idea where these came from. I think they came from a freebie table at a retreat that I went to, but I can't swear to you that that's the case. I'm going to stamp another word or a phrase here over by this circle, and it's Pure Joy. It's one of my favorite stamps to use, and I've used it on, 20 layouts, I'm sure. I think I won't do the circles. Instead of those half buttons that are here on the layout, I'm going to fussy cut some donuts and then cut them in half. And your guess is as good as mine as to whether I'll get a straight enough line to put it up. Don't want them to be the same. This donut actually looks like a bagel, so we might be having a proper breakfast here in this little corner of the layout. This is the black and white that I knew I was going to use, Let me kind of cut that there and cut this here, and a little dab of glue. I want to be able to move them around, so I've got a little dab of glue there, a little dab of glue here. Believe it or not, it's almost finished. I have to pick out the word strip for this cluster down here and then figure out what I'm going to do about the for the tangles. I'll kind of stick that there. Can you see what I'm doing there? Yeah, right up here. It's kind of up higher than the real layout. The real layout that I'm going to do one of these days. Okay, donuts have something to do with fun, right? Unless you're dieting, I suppose. Okay, let's go back to the words and select our, I think I'm gonna go for this awesome. That's the other black and white that I know is gonna be on there. I actually, after I do this layout when I'm watching television sometime, I'm gonna fussy cut all of the word strips and groups here because I love the fonts and I love the colors and I love everything about it. I'm going to include this little heart and do the same thing, kind of fussy cutting around the shape of these letters like I did for the You Do You sentiment. And let's see, I have there's an area here on the original that has some tangled thread, and I probably won't do tangled thread, but I think I do have a stamp that would work. Actually, the one I used kind of looks like tangled something or other, so it would be good to repeat it a third time because there's power in threes and it would tend to draw the eye to it. I'm getting these letters are a little bigger and a little more detailed, so it's taking a little longer and I apologize for that. This is the part of the video where I would do well to record early and then go back and edit and speed certain sections up. But I've had some feedback from some of you that you like seeing the process in real time because it gives you an idea of how much of your time you'd have to spend doing something like that. So I'm gonna do this awesome here, but again, I'm gonna prop it up on some foam, thin strip of foam. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do there. This here, I'll stick the foam there. I don't think any of that shows through. It does not. So I can stick this up. And you may think I'm going a little bit backwards here, but I really want to see where this ends up before I do whatever I'm going to do over here. And so I just lift it up. Let me go back to that exact same stamp, and I'll lift this up, and maybe I'll stamp. Actually, maybe what I'll do is only, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'll do it as it comes. I'm inking the entire stamp, and I'm going to take it this back like this, do that right there, and then let this go back and kind of overlap it. Okay, so let's see what we have going on here. I see some ink drops that I don't have on there. And I don't have glitter. My requirements for Mind the Scrap are to use the, to scrap lift a Mind the Scrap member, a layout that's in one of our galleries. And this is a scrap lift from Scrap Squad, and there may well be one of these, but I'm not going to claim the 5 points for that. And to use the Mind the Scrap colors, which are pink and aqua, and I've certainly got those in there along with every other color you can think of. To have circles, and I've got my circles. To do some journaling, and I forget what else, but I'll make sure I only claim the points that I deserve for the rules I'm following here. What I'm doing, oh, glitter is a requirement. So what I'm doing is putting the pink glittered bits that came out of the punch. Let me put this one here. I like turning the wings of the butterfly before I stick just the center down on the glue spot. The glue holds it really well. Let me get that up into the feel there. The glue holds it well, but you can still get some curl on the wings. Okay. I'm going to add journaling before I take a final photo, but basically this is my finished layout. It's fun. It's got colors. It's Ava, and today she's having a tough time with a transfusion and chemo, and she had gotten really weak and tired in the last couple days, so we're all thinking about her. And when I think about her, I do an Ava page, and it's usually something that recalls the fun that she's brought to all our lives. So here's my fun page. It's not exactly the love page, but it's a cool interpretation, I think. And just so that you know, I ended up not really using anything from here, from this set, so I'm good. I didn't even use the feather. I was maybe going to use the feather instead of this group of leaves, and I ended up liking the leaf. So let me do a few spots, a few ink drops. This is Heidi Swapp Color Shine in the color Tencel, and it comes off a really nice metallic gray. And as you can see, I don't necessarily shield my photo. I have pretty good control on this. And if it does get on the photo, there's never enough, when I'm doing it that way, there's never enough to cause a problem. So here we are. I will do the journaling and I'll take a picture of the final layout. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your attention and hope you enjoyed Challenge Accepted. Check out Shannon Allor's She's Crafty channel on YouTube and see what she does with this same sketch. Bye.